What dinosaurs should you release first? How do you stop dinosaurs from escaping? And what's the quickest way to make money? In this tips video, I'll be sharing the secret to all of these questions and more. So if you've just started playing Jurassic World Evolution 3, this is the video for you. And let's just get straight into it. The first tip: dinosaur priority. Now, some people want to get the most popular dinosaurs into their parks ASAP, like for instance the Indoraptor, but this is a mistake. They have high costs, and if you're not set up for them, they will do more harm than good. You also have to unlock their fossils at dig sites, making them more of a late game dinosaur. Instead, for the early game, try this dinosaur. This is the Microceratus, and it is the most cost-effective dinosaur in the whole game. The Microceratus has a 24k cost, which is pretty minor, and 28 appeal. Let's compare that to the Indoraptor, who costs 1,355,000 and has 1582 appeal, 1,582. That is a huge disparity, but there's a way to actually match the appeal of the Indoraptor by using a bunch of Microceratus. Now, appeal is huge in Jurassic World Evolution. The higher it is, the more people will come to your park, and this increases your park's overall rating. So let's find out the best, most cost-effective way to generate appeal. Let's crunch the numbers. To match the appeal of the Indoraptor using Microceratus, you need roughly 50 Microceratus. 50 Microceratus costs 1,200,000, which is 155,000 cheaper than one Indoraptor. Now, this obviously scales, so the more Microceratus you have, the more cost-effective it is. But that's not the only reason why you will want to start out with the Microceratus. These dinosaurs have a very low security risk, which is 1, meaning they literally never escape. They also have a low appetite, so they don't cost a bunch to feed. They have small land requirements, so you can save space in your park by using a pretty small enclosure, and they love living with most every other dinosaur species. If they're a herbivore, obviously don't put them in with carnivores. They also have a high social max, meaning you can put loads of them in the same enclosure and generate all of that appeal in one exhibit. These are all amazing qualities for the Microceratus, and why you would just want to spam them over and over again to generate low cost appeal. Now, when you've done all that and you've got a bunch of Microceratus, now it's time to place a viewing gallery and start generating that appeal. As you can see, I have over 2,000 appeal from one viewing gallery, which is more appeal than an Indoraptor. So these people are loving this bunch of Microceratus even more than they would from one Indoraptor. And they probably love it even more because the Indoraptor has a tendency to escape and cause mayhem, whereas the Microceratus has no risk at all. You can also place a second viewing gallery to ensure maximum coverage, but be notified that multiple viewing galleries won't increase appeal. So having more viewing galleries won't make your appeal go up. It just helps with making sure the guests can see every dinosaur in the exhibit. So that's the Microceratus. That's a great early game dinosaur, but let's go on to another dinosaur. If you don't like the look of this very tiny one, the next dinosaur that you want in the early game is the Struthiomimus. Now, this is one of the cheapest dinosaurs in the whole game. It costs 15 grand, which is nothing, and it also generates 17 appeal, which is even cheaper than the Microceratus, less appeal, but it might be even more cost effective. You can also share exhibits with the Struthiomimus, so there's nothing stopping you putting the Struthiomimus in with the Microceratus and just having even more appeal in that one exhibit. So that's the second dinosaur I recommend if you're just getting out and just getting started in this game. But if you want to take things to the next level and you're sick of all of these herbivores and you want to introduce a bit of excitement into your park, the most cost-effective carnivore is the Dilophosaurus. So really, really cheap, and also quite a high appeal in terms of how cheap it is, and also pretty small, so you don't need a ton of space. Now keep in mind you will have to build another exhibit because you don't want to put these in with herbivores as that has a tendency to go slightly wrong. But you have to also make sure the fences are electrified as well to match that security rating. And this leads me on to my second tip, how to stop dinosaurs escaping. The easiest way to do that is to match the rating of the fence to the rating of the dinosaur. So I'm going to use the Struthiomimus as an example. Let's look at the security rating of this one, and it is a 1. So all of the same species will have the exact same security rating. So Struthiomimus has a 1 rating. Now the fence is a 2, which is more than enough to stop this dinosaur escaping. You could also use a lower fence rating to match that 1, but that's going to be more than enough. Now if you had a dinosaur that had a 3 rating and you put it in this enclosure with a 2 rating, it's just going to bust straight out of there. So that's the best way of stopping dinosaurs escaping. However, one thing to be aware of is that if a dinosaur is unhappy in any way, so if they've got, for instance, they're not happy with their condition, you haven't got enough food for them, you haven't got enough foliage in there, they will get upset and they will try and break out. So if you don't anger them or upset them in their enclosure, they won't attempt to break out at all. But when you start seeing those red clouds above their head, then they will try and break out. This can result in 2 things. Either the dinosaur escapes and rampages around the park, or they will injure themselves in the process, and then you'll have to go in and administer some medical treatment. So really the best way to stop dinosaurs escaping is to just treat them really nicely. But if you wanted a little shortcut, there's nothing wrong with doing a double fence. So if one fence is not enough, just put another fence around that fence. And it's kind of feels a bit cheesy sometimes to have a double fence, but if the dinosaur breaks through one fence, you have another fence as backup. And it's just really effective. It's pretty obvious. I didn't really think to do this first of all, but then I was like, why not? Why not build another fence? And now I do, especially for the more intelligent and the more dangerous dinosaurs. But if you didn't want to build 2 fences because it can look a bit too much and a bit too artificial, there is a more natural way of containing dinosaurs. This is by using scenery. So one of the tricks that I like to do is to build a rock wall and use this as part of the enclosure. So you can build a ring of rocks using the scenery on the left hand side, arrange that into a sort of ring shape, decorate it with foliage, put a fence across, and there you go. You have a nice natural looking enclosure. And as a plus, they won't break out because dinosaurs cannot pass through rocks, to the best of my knowledge. Hey, maybe some did. But yeah, the rocks are going to be your best friend when it comes to more natural and more organic looking enclosures. Now let's talk income. What's the quickest way to raise the income on your parks? The quickest way is by using amenities. So these are the shopping centers, the drink stands, and the food stands. But there's a way you can actually configure these to produce even more profit. So I'm going to use this as an example. So if we go down to change product, what we want to do is make as many people satisfied as we can. So do that for the product and then change features. And then what you're aiming for is 100% satisfaction. And all you have to do is go down and change these until you see the number raise up to 100. And there we go. Everyone's satisfied and our profit is just going up and up. And you can actually do this for every single amenity in the park. So our sugar theory is now fully optimized and producing plenty of profit. And there's actually no downside to this. By default, these amenities aren't configured optimally, but that's something you can do manually. So I fully recommend doing that. But there's another thing you should pay attention to, and that's this management visual filter. And this shows you what amenities aren't configured and what are. So if they're not, they're going to be shown up with a red unhappy face. And if they are configured properly, they will have a green face. So make sure to use that filter on the map, which is the management view on the top left. And just go in and make everything 100% to increase guest satisfaction and get that profit rolling in. Now, here's an even better way to make money. This is by doing contracts. Contracts give you money in return for doing a small or a quick objective. This one is to provide for your guests by constructing a medium amenity. That rewards you with 250,000 So it gives you that just for building something. And if we look at how much a medium amenity costs, it's actually 50,000. So what we're essentially earning there is $200,000 plus a free medium food amenity. Another contract that's just as easy is the Snappy contract, and this one is to take a photo worth at least 21,000. Now these Snappy contracts come up quite often, and all it is just go in with your ranger team, take a photo, and not only do you get the money of the photo, so sometimes you'll take a photo worth 50 grand, 60, 70, so you'll get that money plus the reward money on top, which is $350,000 in this case. So I'm going to show you the quickest way to do that. Instead of taking control of the ranger team and driving all the way there, do this instead. So select them, then go add task, and just pick anything that you want them to do. So go over and get them to do a status check on a dinosaur. And when they do that, they're going to automatically drive there. And then you can use the time controls in the bottom right to speed them up like that. It saves a lot of time. It means you don't have to drive all the way there. And then once they're there, then you take direct control. Because you have to take these manually, you can't set up an automatic system of taking photos. So just drive all the way in, and then go down to take photo on the left, which on keyboard is the F key. And what you have to make sure is you have multiple dinos in the same frame. So one dinosaur doesn't really cut it, you need a few, so just make sure to line them all up. And once you've got them in the frame, there we go, 103,000 for that shot. So we get that plus the 350,000 on top. So that's almost $500,000 generated from that one contract alone. And I'll show you another really good contract, which is new functionality contract, add an upgrade to the small power station. So again, we're just basically being given a free upgrade here, plus a little bit of money on top. I don't know what the incentive is for whoever is handing out these contracts, but I'm going to take full advantage. So just go to the upgrade slot. I'm going to add some increased output there, which is increased power by 50%. That costs 225,000, but with our contract, the contract pays out 335,000. So we essentially have the free upgrade plus 100,000 just for doing nothing on top of that. So always do contracts. And if you don't like the current set of contracts you have, you can actually get some more. So if you go into the menu and then you go right here, you can purchase contracts for $45,000. Now, I actually don't recommend you purchasing any contracts because these do refresh automatically. So if you don't like the current 3 contracts that are being presented to you, just wait a bit and some new contracts will appear. What happens when your park is losing money and bankruptcy looks inevitable? Well, there are a few ways to rescue your park from the brink, and that's first to try this. Go into anything you're not using and deactivate it. So for instance, go in and deactivate the capture team. If you don't really need the capture team, you can deactivate the response facility. Depends on how desperate you are. You can go and deactivate the science center if you don't need your scientists for a bit, and that's just going to stop those costs from mounting up. And yeah, it's quite a desperate thing, but it could just save your park. You can also deactivate pretty much anything you want. Yeah, but I would start with the things you aren't using and then go from there. Another thing you can do to stop your park losing money is demolishing things. So if you go in and do the bulldozer option, you can actually demolish items and objects, and this is a way to claw back some cash. For instance, I'm deleting a bunch of pathways, and this is saving me $500,000. So I've kind of designated this area as a place where I'm not really prioritizing it. I haven't really got many guests in this section compared to the other more busier sections. So I'm just taking this section out of commission, deleting those pathways, and I'm getting loads of cash back. So I'm kind of stripping back my operations, and then when I start being in the green, I start generating a bit more of a profit, then I can reopen that area and start building again. And one last way you could rescue your park if you are losing a bunch of money is by firing some scientists. Some of these scientists are on incredible wages, so they are losing me money, and I'm not really using all of them. I think it's high time to let some of these people go. For instance, Peter Gomez, he's going to have to go. He's on $31,000 salary. That is just too much. I think that's monthly. because yearly that's not really that much. But if he's taking 31 grand a month, that's eating into my profit and my income. So sorry, he's going to have to go. And that's going to save me that money over a long run. So in essence, make sure to only have the scientists that you need and don't have too many, because that will be eating into your income. So those were some beginner's tips for Jurassic World Evolution 3. Let me know down in the comments if you've got any tips to share. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to the channel for more Jurassic World Evolution 3 guides.